Yo, Laurent,
What? What? What?
is yours gold?
Is what gold? At least provide context for the viewers, you know?
Oh, the viewers know what question is being asked. So
I don't know if they do, bro.
it's up to you now to answer the question. And the question is
Yeah,
yours
no,
gold?
no. It is our Club World Cup win and our patch on our jerseys. Yeah, it's definitely gold. Yeah.
The patch on the jersey?
Yeah, yeah, from our Club World Cup victory.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
show us that jersey?
It's
Do
gold.
you have it? In fact, do you have one at least
It's
to show?
it's gold. It's gold. Just to answer your question, it is gold.
So the
Oh,
jersey
okay, okay.
is gold?
No, the patch,
Hmm.
right? You know when you win, sometimes they put stars, but there is a patch to represent that, right? So
So you, so you're claiming that you have a jersey?
listen, I'm claiming many things, but what I'm telling you right now is that it is in fact gold. Right? Was that the question you were asking me?
It was, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
You want me to rephrase it?
Honestly, bro, I thought we were gonna go down memory lane, bro. How far back? Tell me, like, how far back do I have to jog my memory for the
On
initial questions you were asking me? How far back?
Hey man, as far back as
Huh?
you can recall. How far
Yeah.
back was it when you guys what was it?
Wait,
When you
am I digging my time capsule? Like, is that what we're doing now? We're digging up the time capsules from all Arsenal fans, eh? From that point in time in
No,
history.
Arsenal, Chelsea, it can go both ways, you know what I'm saying? Pause.
Damn,
It can go both ways, bro. Like, you're technically
damn.
you guys are in the time capsule as well. The last time Chelsea won a Premier League, I think we were still in school, were we not? So let's not go there, mate.
Oh, so okay, so we're referring. All right,
Hmm.
Mm.
right. I thought we are talking like just major trophies or like big trophies, right? You know, the big ones.
Is it big? So define big, define major. Because
I was gonna say CL. I was gonna say CL, man. You
whichever
already
way
know where.
you look at, yeah, but whichever way you look at it, Arsenal have more trophies than Chelsea.
That's what I've
No,
been saying. That's what these
no, no.
Chelsea fans
I
don't
was gonna.
understand, bro.
No, no. I was gonna say CL, as in like like that big trophy that we don't have to go for that far back
Oh,
in
so
time,
you're just
right?
saying from that aspect, okay, if we just look at it domestically, we have double the amount of trophies that you have.
But again, like how far back am I going?
It
Doesn't
doesn't matter, bro. It doesn't
doesn't
matter
matter.
how far back.
We
The
have
fact of the
double
matter is,
the amount of trophies that you have.
It does matter how far back though,
why?
Double the
huh?
amount of trophies that you have.
Why? Yeah. Why does it matter how far back? The
It
fact of the
does.
matter is that we have more silverware in our cabinet than you guys do. That's a
And
Time,
fact.
I
why
time,
that
time.
and the last silverware that we won, correct me if I'm wrong, CJ. Who did we have to go through?
Oh yeah, yeah. We beat a certain Chelsea squad when Aubameyang's chipping their keeper.
Mm, mm,
That's
mm,
cute. And
mm,
Yeah,
what was that silverware?
mm.
What
was
was
the
that
FA
silver?
Cup.
Ah, that's cute.
I think up.
That's cute.
So we went from
I mean, how many other teams have won that FA Cup?
55 trophies. I
You know what I
mean,
mean? Actually,
the
let me search that up.
FA Cup is the Arsenal trophy, so you can look whatever the fuck you want to look up.
All
That's the
teams
Arsenal trophy.
that have won FA Cup. Let's see. Apparently, 45 teams have won it.
Mm. The,
Hmm.
the next thing I want you to search up is how many have a
Yeah,
gold one.
45 clubs have won FA Cup. 45, right? And then, all
How
right,
many?
let's see how
How
many
many
teams
have?
have won Champions League. How many teams have won Champions League? Ah, yeah, it's around half
Okay,
of that.
search number three. How many have a gold trophy? That's what I want. That's what I've been asking you. That was the original question, and I want us to keep consistent. So do a search for me and find out how many have a gold Premier League.
Oh, you want me to search that for you, or
Yeah, yeah. Since we were on the theme of just searching up trophies, right? In fact, you don't even need to do a Google search or AI or ask, this, that, and the third. The answer is pretty straightforward. You
it
don't
is
need
cute.
Google's help.
It is cute. When is this? Let's see.
So, funny enough, Mehrdad, I have a question to ask you while Laurent is trying to pretend to do some research there. Okay, so the common question, right? International break. This is a typical international break question. Would you, as an
2000.
Arsenal fan,
Hmm?
what, Laurent?
No, I was gonna say 2003, 2004, bro. Like how? That's an eons ago, bro.
Anyways, let's CJ continue with your question. I'm gonna
So my,
ignore this.
my question was, right? My question was, would you give up your Invincibles
No,
gold trophy
no, no,
if
no,
it meant you win
no,
one Champions League at least?
no. Absolutely not. No,
Mm,
no.
Wait, so you'd rather, let's say the alternative was you stay without a Champions League trophy for
yeah,
as let's say as long as you live, as long as you exist, you will never see the Champions League. You'd be okay with that?
Yep.
Damn.
and you know why, Laurent?
You're
Here's
implying,
here's
because you're also implying that no one else wins, no one else goes invincible in the Premier.
right.
So that's going to be the bragging rights. And just for your knowledge, Laurent,
Damn.
Chelsea
That
are
is
still like
that is honestly, I'm not gonna lie. As good as that sounds, I don't know if that's something worth taking because like I said, the Champions League, winning a Champions League, that is history. It enriches a club's history just by itself. That
Sure,
trophy alone.
but here
And
and
you're
you
also
hear why?
implying that Arsenal, sorry, CJ, but you're also implying that Arsenal don't win anything else. What if in the next 5 years Arsenal win the Premier League 3 times and they do a domestic double, which we've never done?
Yeah, but it's still no Champions League,
No,
and
no,
that's big.
I
That's like
agree with you. I totally agree with you, but there's a lot other ways to, put your club on the stature, right? Like, who knows? What if Arsenal get to the final and they lose? Like, sure. Like, but no, I would not give up being the only team in the Premier League that's won the has been invincible, especially against that Manchester United team, you know? Like,
And that's the point of where I was going with this as well. Is you see all these searches that you're doing up of how many clubs won this, how many clubs won that. There's many clubs that have won a Champions League. There's many clubs that have won an FA Cup, a Premier League.
twice,
How
twice.
many clubs?
How many comes have won it twice? More than twice. Let's
Okay,
just be fair.
but that's not the point. The point is how like this the searches that you're doing up, there's multiple clubs that can fall into those categories, right? But how many clubs are falling under the category of invincibility, of having one gold trophy because he won a whole season unbeaten? That's something unique. That's something that nobody's done before. Plenty of clubs have now done trebles, right? United was pissed when City did their treble because now United can't say that they're the only club that has won a treble, so on and so forth, right? What
yeah.
makes you distinguished and distinct as a club is when you do something that nobody else has ever done. And not saying winning a Champions League is oh it's overrated because everyone else has done it, but it's like look, Nottingham Forest have a European trophy, right? Where are they now? You know what I mean? Like nobody has done Invincibles in the Premier League, and that's fact. That's going to remain for as long as who knows, right? Because it's so hard to go a whole campaign without losing. Fergie said it. Alex Ferguson himself said that achievement that Arsene Wenger did to go invincible stands alone above all the other achievements that he did, including the treble and so on, because it's just so hard to do, and no other club has done it. So that speaks in for itself. So I have to agree with Mehrdad there and say that I would not give up my invincibility for a Champions League because again, well, you win a Champions League, okay, everyone else wins a Champions League once in their history, right? Like nobody else has in their history, whether it was 2004 or 2025, nobody else has been invincible. That's the bottom line.
And just for your knowledge, Laurent, Arsenal and Chelsea have faced 211 times. Arsenal's won 84 times, drew 61, lost 66. So if you do that in reverse order, Chelsea's beaten us 66 times. We've obviously drew 61 times, and you guys have lost 84 times. So when we joke around with you like that, you're the little brother that's kicking and screaming to try to sit at the big boy table. There's a reason why.
Listen, the big boy table has a Champions League. That's where
There
the
we
big boys
go.
are eating. Like
We're
I don't
going
know.
around in circles, man.
Again, I like that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is like what is this table where people sit and they don't even have a Champions League to their resume? That's what I'm trying to understand.
But I just told you as
Right?
well, Nottingham Forest technically do it as well, but where are they? Like no one cares about Nottingham Forest.
Well, yeah, to their defense, and I don't know how far. Okay, how far back did they even? Because again, like I said, time is also of relevance, and I'm assuming Nottingham Forest probably won it when like we weren't even born, right? I'm assuming this is
Sure.
probably like
So
80,
then you're saying
60.
it's irrelevant that they won it when we weren't born, but it's still a Champions League.
Well, but again, you have to factor in time, because like I said, no, you guys laugh, but time, like that's what that to me is
But then
that's
when do
like
you cut off the time? How do you make
that's
the determination that
again
10
it.
years or
And
20
we had this discussion in the first podcast, right? Like you can segment it, divide it into eras and whatnot, but life is all about being relevant, right? Again, it doesn't matter was done X years ago if today, in this day and age, right, you're still not performing. You were the winner, yes. In the man, you were in high school, you were the man. But you know what I mean? Now we're no longer in high school.
Okay,
Like
so
it's
in
present,
theory,
it's
how
present time.
what scale of time dictates whether it's present or not? Because by your logic, bro, like the last time you guys won the Premier League, like I said, was 2017. That's ancient. That's now history, not ancient history per se, but it's history. Same with the
Yeah,
Champions League.
but
Champions
I
League was
never meant
5 years ago.
I never mentioned the Premier League.
Okay,
That's
Champions
the
League.
first thing.
Champions League was 5 years ago, so that's now
But
also history. So that's not present either. It's all going to be in the past. It's all going to be, you know what I mean? It's all things that have happened way,
right,
way back.
right, right. So
Whether it's 15 years, 20 years, or 5 years, like now
yeah,
that is considered history as well.
so
So
I'd say for one, a decade, that's too long. A decade, 10 years, that's way too long.
for what? Champions League, Premier League,
For
both.
anything, a decade, 10 years, way too long. We can
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
We can all agree to that,
I
right?
agree. Yeah.
Now, all right, you move the needle forward 5 years, right? Now you can start to have to debate. Some people will say, yeah, you're starting to push it, right? You're moving closer if you round up, right, towards the decade mark. And then right closer to five, you have the 3 years, the 2 years, right? So yes, you could say that Chelsea is basically on the edge, right, when it comes to the Champions League trophy. If, since it was 5 years ago,
Yeah, and
from the
going
last
on
one.
6 because you're not winning it this year, but that's another story. But yeah, continue.
Hey man, sure, whatever you want to say. But my point being is that there is an argument for that, right? That we're at the 5 year mark, and it is time, right, to come back into relevancy, in quote, right? But if we're using that, right, you have to understand that it applies across the board, and by that logic, right, you guys still have a lot of ground to make to be relevant in today's day and age of winning something substantial
But
in
to,
recent times.
like your comment of saying that just because someone wins the Champions League that they're above everything else, like Red Star Belgrade, 1991, they won. PSV Eindhoven won in 1988.
And at that time, right? At
Aston,
that time, if we were at that era, if we were born, they were the top. They were top. Like but no, now, right? If we're using time as a factor in everything in life, they are no longer relevant, despite having won that Champions League. What I'm saying is, in terms of the history, it is something. It enriches their history. It's like almost you walk in the museum and you see, that was done, that was accomplished, right? But you understand in retrospect, it was too long ago. So for those that are here today, it doesn't hold as much significance compared to those that were there at the time.
but
Because time,
it's a lot easier to win a Champions League in a cup tournament versus facing your domestic rivals twice in a season and not losing a single game. Maybe this is another question that we post on our Instagram. What's more valuable, being invincible or winning a Champions League? Because like again, like some of the other teams that have won, like Feyenoord, PSG, City, Marseille, um, a Romanian team that I don't know how to pronounce, Hamburg, Celtic, Dortmund, Porto, like to me, what you're saying is completely irrelevant because only 15 teams have ever won the Champions League, and it's been dominated by Madrid, Milan, and Munich and Liverpool. Like those are the teams that win, Madrid has 15 titles, Milan has seven, Munich has six, Liverpool has six.
which I think even adds, funny enough, when you say it like that, it adds on to the weight of a team actually winning it, other than those teams that you mentioned, right? If those are the teams that are dominating, and suddenly you have other teams, right? It even adds more weight to their win because now they're snatching it from those who seemingly keep winning it year after year. But
Okay, but then you're proving my point. You're proving myself and CJ's point even more.
in saying what?
That Manchester United team that Arsenal went invincible against, they were the dominant team in the Premier League prior to Arsene Wenger arriving, and he was able to do the double over them that year to go invincible.
I think there's an overlap with the two trophies and even the 2 points that are being made. What I'm saying is this. I'm not even taking away from you guys winning or doing the Invincibles and whatnot, or the degree of difficulty. What I'm saying is this: is that winning the Champions League to me, and I think that even like, bro, you can ask this to your buddies and anyone that you like, all your soccer buddies and whatnot, and ask them, can a team, right? Does a team have the pedigree if they do not have a Champions League to their name? Can they really say that they're sitting at the table, right? And say you can even in modern times, right? We're going to forget those that have won it long ago, right? But in modern time, if you have not won that trophy, are you really part of that club, right? And when I say that club, I'm talking about all the big teams that have won it, right? The Madrids that keep winning it year after year, the Barças, the Bayerns. You can even argue the Milan, even though for those guys, again, I think it was over a decade or more or so ago. But right,
My answer is yes, and I'll tell you why. Is because you're talking about relevant and modern, right? You only have to look at the seeding of the Champions League right before the Champions League even starts, right? Every club is put into a pot of seeding, right? You guys would have seen that. And then they pull up the pots and they draw the names out of the hat.
mm-hmm.
Arsenal in whatever pot A, pot B. They rank the pots by tiers. And if anything, I want you guys to do this as like maybe a homework exercise, like once we hop offline. But go look back at those clubs who were seated, in pot A, right, pot B, pot C, and pot D. I think there were four pots, and Arsenal was in typically in the past we've been in pot A when it was the old format. So pot A consists of clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona, and so on, right? Those are the clubs in the draw in pot A in the past. But in this new format, Arsenal's been in pot B. And again, that's due to us not being in the Champions League over the last couple of years, only until recently again, right? But pot B. So we're typically usually in a pot A or pot B, which is pretty high in terms of the seeding of the clubs, right? Before they're doing the draws. And you'll see in pot C and pot D, and even in the mix of pot B where we currently are, there's clubs who have had success in Europe who are in the lower pots and in the lower seating, and that's because of recent relevancy, right? So all that to say, yes, we're in that conversation, and we're considered a higher seeded pot in Europe because the relevance is that whilst we haven't won it or we're not winning it, we're competing in it year in, year out. Like Arsenal's coefficient in the Champions League since its inception, how many years has Arsenal been in the Champions League and competed in it, right? There's been a number of years where, yes, AC Milan specifically, has won the Champions League, but they haven't been even in the competition for a very, very long time until recently, right? So if you're talking about recency and relevance, yeah, part of it, you being able to sit at that table with the other European elites and giants, is you competing in that competition year in, year out, and being part of that, right? You're competing in it. Maybe you're not winning it, but you're competing in it. Versus a club who has the history of maybe won it in 1990 something, as PSV or whatever you said.
But again, we're not
Where are
talking
those
about
clubs? They're not on that scale.
we're not talking about those clubs that have won it like those long ago. I understand that they did win it, but it was too far back. We're talking about in modern times, and bro, there's no way
So
you're
modern
like,
times, okay. But if you're
and
saying in modern times, there's probably only about three or four clubs that are sitting at this table, and that doesn't include Chelsea.
right. Well, depending on how you want to gauge it from that, right? If the 5 year cutoff mark is right is too far back, then by all means, I'm willing to concede to that point, right? But so now we have to all agree as to what is the time frame of relevancy, and then from there we can go from there. But there is no way, and there's no way you're trying to make a point for you're sitting at your and this table that I'm talking about is the winners table, right? Where the winners are,
Right.
right?
So how could you
Just
guys be
because you
involved?
no, but just because you participate in a competition,
Okay.
but you do not win it, does not give you the right to then claim that you're sitting at the winners table because you have not won the competition.
Okay, so now the goalposts are changing to winners table because again, PSV and
Yeah,
those clubs,
but it's
they've won it,
implied. It's
but they're not
no, no,
relevant
no,
in
no, no.
recent
But
times.
again, no, because when you say that, right, you're disregarding the fact that I'm saying modern times. I understand those guys have won it. Again, far back. I'm talking in modern times.
Okay, so modern
So
times as in the winners
so
within the
yeah,
last
that
five
table
years.
it's the cities. It's you can argue Bayern,
How
PSG. Now
how Bayern is
How
not
can
in
you
it?
buy, how could you argue Bayern when they have
yeah,
a
so when yeah, I guess, yeah, it would be past the 5 year mark or whatnot, right? That's fair. But then you have you have Bayern, right? Real, City, and
PSG, right? You're only talking about 3 or 4 clubs then. If we're combining recent winners slash also relevance, then
Yeah,
there's probably only about 3 or 4 teams on that table.
I thought this
but
argument had more substance, but it just seems like it's just
yeah,
literally
no, but
if you've
to be
won
fair, right?
recent, you're
And then you
relevant. If you haven't won recent, you're not relevant. But that's not what history is. History is you repeating it time and time again. And that's my argument for whenever we talk about my hatred for Arne Slot is you build your history by being able to repeat something over and over again. Why do all three of us respect Pep? Why do all three of us respect Klopp? Why do we, respect Zidane? Because they were able to repeat greatness over and over again, right? You can't like just because you did it once and then it took you 10, 15 years to do it again, like it doesn't make sense. Like to what you're arguing, the only teams that can sit at that table are
in modern times,
in
yes,
modern times, Bayern, Madrid, and Liverpool. Those are the only three teams that, from a European standpoint, can sit at the big boy table.
I think Barca. But again, Barca with the Barca winning it, right? You're going back now. I think
The
even to
Barca hasn't
Pep.
won since Messi was there, and I don't think they'll win it without Messi. So, but again, I don't want to move the goalposts. Those are the only three teams that can do it because that Liverpool team has been beaten Barca. They've beaten Madrid. Like those are the only three teams that are allowed to sit at that table.
Yeah, if you look at it that way, right? In terms of recent times, I don't disagree.
And then if you're looking at like the Premier League, like unfortunately, I'm not just saying this because you're a Chelsea fan. Chelsea are nowhere like the Chelsea are not even at the table. It's United and Arsenal at the Premier League table.
Wait, for the what? For
For
we're talking about Premier League?
I'm talking about Premier League now. They're the only two teams that can sit at the Premier League table.
Sure, if you take the collective history, but modern times, that table has become quite exclusive. If we're being pretty honest.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like if you limit it, then you're just saying recency bias to who's won in the last year or
Yeah,
two.
but I think that's important, bro, because again,
Isn't
like you're
fun,
saying, you
but
said,
for history, history is built on doing things over and over again, right?
yeah, but then all right, so then, and if you say that, right, then what's the greatest empire? Or you know what you know what I mean? It was I think the Roman Empire. But this how many years ago was that?
Yeah,
They're no longer relevant
yeah,
in
they
today's day
are,
and age.
but
No,
they
no,
are,
no, no, no.
they
In the
are
sense,
relevant.
the,
They
the
are
only
relevant.
it's only relevant in terms of, well, yeah, we learn about their history.
But hold
Uh,
on, hold on, hold on. If they weren't relevant, then why are we learning about their history?
no, but what I'm trying to say in terms of, like, in today's Rome is not there no more. That's what I'm saying. Like, there are new winners at the table right
Because
now.
it's not there anymore because organically, as the years go by, there's going to be different developments, right? Like no one talks about the Persian Empire. Persian Empire controlled all of Asia, parts of Africa, and parts of Europe. No one talks about it. But obviously, organically, as time progresses, there's going to be developments in technology and how players develop and how strong they are, right? Like, of course, the game style, when you talk about all the players that played in the past and the players playing now, the game is completely different. So, though, like the arguments that you're making, like respectfully, they're very easy to break because you're comparing different times and different eras, and your arguments don't really hold substance because the history of it is teams that were able to do it in the past would like that Chelsea team that won the Champions League would not be able to do anything in this Champions League.
Right, which is why again, it's not
Wait,
the
wait.
relevance thing, right? Chelsea's not relevant because they only just got back in the Champions League this year after being irrelevant
Again,
outside of
just
that
forget, bro.
competition.
Forget. I think you guys are too much into the Chelsea and Arsenal thing. Which, again, like, if you're noticing, I'm not even looking to even support the Chelsea
No,
argument,
no,
right?
not
Because again, when you do that,
advantage.
and I don't think you guys realize this, but when you do that, when you go pro Arsenal and you do that, there's bias, a lot of biases involved, which you guys then use to then look to then conjure and twist and support your argument. I'm not doing. I'm trying to be as objective as possible. Point in case being, right, Brazil, dominant World Cup X amount of years ago, right? But is that the Brazil of today? The debate, the
Right.
No, but you
question,
still have to
What?
respect
Like,
that
hold
history.
on.
the question becomes, right? You still respect that history, what those players have done. But the questions to today, when you see the Brazil size and how they play it and whatnot, right? For a lot of people, it's like they don't even fear it anymore because that was so long ago. When Germany did that to Brazil on their home soil, right? You guys remember that?
Of course.
You know, you guys remember that, right? This is
Well,
the same club, right? That at that point I think they had like 5 World Cups.
Yep.
yeah,
And
but you're
but
also
when was you see what I'm saying? Like they
but what you're
repeated that at
saying
that
is
in that era. In that era, they were dominant. That's why there's such thing called as eras, right? Because you have to segregate. You cannot just overlap and extend time because that's not how things work.
But you know, but here's my thing. Foundation, like history, sets the foundation for respect of the present as well, right? Like you need that history because it sets the foundation of respect of whatever, right?
Of
Michael
course,
Jordan was in
you
the
have to.
past, but who does everybody look up to? Michael Jordan. How many Arsenal players have wanted to join Arsenal because of what Arsenal did in the past? History, you have to respect and appreciate history because it builds the foundation for the present and the future, right?
We don't disagree. We don't disagree.
Like
But
history is very important. You can't
the
disregard that.
the key point when you say that is that it has to be continued or else you dive in, you become irrelevant. And
Yeah.
that's the
there
point.
you go. Yeah, but
Why
You
Arsenal isn't, and sorry, Mehrdad, and why
you
Arsenal isn't irrelevant is because we are competing now. That's my thing. If we're putting it back to an Arsenal lens,
but how long? You see what I mean? Like you guys can compete for the next 20 years, and you'll still say we're competing. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
of course,
But
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 then
you
like
could also
and then how far like if 1,000 years from now, let's say 1,000 years from now, you guys come second place for the next
okay,
thousands of
be
years.
realistic, man.
No.
That's
But I'm
so
no, like
unrealistic.
I'm giving you like legit because if your argument is to say that because Arsenal compete, right, that they keep the history alive, right? So for the next thousands of years, 50 years, whatever, 100 years, you're competing, you're second place, but you don't win anything, right? Are you're still saying that? Well, yeah. I mean, like we're still relevant. No, like there, at some point, right? Like you kind of if other teams become start to win, the hegemony it shifts over. The dominance shifts over to whoever takes control at that point in time, and that's eventually to use Mehrdad's initial point when you talk about empires. That's usually how things shift because someone else comes in and takes over what you've been doing up to this point, and you are no longer the person in control or the person in the position of power, right? So again, I'm not trying to say that no, you guys aren't up there like that. I'm just trying to be as objective as possible. If you guys do end up winning, of course, then at that point you guys resurface
So
and you guys
relevance is based on winners, obviously. I guess what you're saying. That's what it comes around to, right? I think coming full
clo-
circle, you're saying relevance is based on winners.
and closest to the point in time in which it's being analyzed. So in essence, if we're talking about this in the next 5 years, then whoever is repeating that, right, for the most part, closest to that point in time, yes, those would be your winners.
So winners and time.
Yeah,
Within a certain time scale is that's considered relevance. That's considered those who are sitting at a certain table.
right. Yeah. And I think like Golden State Warriors, right, when they were dominating for what? I think 3 championships, in what,
Hmm.
4 years, was it?
Hmm.
Yeah, at that point, yeah, like they were there. But prior to that, they were not there, right? I think before like Steph did all of that, they were
Hmm.
not at the table,
I think what I've
right?
come to realize with you, Laurent, and I say this as respectfully as possible, you are very recency bias. And I think
No,
that
again, when you see that, because the
it's not in a negative connotation. But that's kind of what I gather from all of this. Like it's very recency bias. And I think that's the part where like we'll agree to disagree. Um, I hear the point of, and it's not just limited to Arsenal, it's any team that hasn't won European championships, like City for the longest time they hadn't, and then they finally got over the hump. But either way, I think we'll post it in the Instagram. What would you rather have, a golden trophy or a Champions League, and just see what the listeners and viewers have to say. But we should,
Yeah, I think that's a good question to ask.
I
I'm
think we
actually
should get
curious.
back into what the pod's about. Before we get going,
Extended banter section.
yeah, I mean, it's very fitting to have a long banter section if you made it to the first 30 minutes. I mean, I would say I apologize, but I mean, that's why we're here. We banter, um, and we brought the golden banter for you for episode 30, episode 50. Sorry, I was gonna say episode 30, episode 50. So the big 50. Um, I can say on behalf of all three of us, like we really appreciate every single one of you who tune in weekly, who listen to us. Sometimes our banter sections are long, sometimes our banter sections are short. We just try to bring a different lens and just kind of challenge each other. And we challenge each other in different ways, right? Like we do this on air, off air, on our group chat. Like this is not show. This is literally we sign on and wherever the conversation takes us, that's what we chat about. So episode 50, a big thank you. And without further ado, let's get into the meat of the episode. Um, International break is over. Thank God. I mean, for a few weeks at least. I can say thank God. Um, Gabriel Martinelli, Super Mikel Marino, scored another brace. Trossard, Eze, Saka, they've all been on fire. Like I don't know if I think CJ, you said you saw Saka's goal against Wales.
Hmm.
Like unreal. Eze played well. Trossard, Mikel Marino has been on fire for Spain ever since we put Marino up top. He's been killing it for Spain. I think he has like 9 goals or something since that timeline. Martinelli looks on form. It's good. It's a good sign for us, especially going into this next few weeks before the next international break to have some flexibility with the loss of Martin Odegaard until at least the next international break is over. So we'll have some flexibility there. Um, Before we talk about the Fulham game, huge shout out to Jack Wilshere getting the Luton Town job. Best of luck. Hopefully, you can get them promoted again and come to the Prem. I think I'm pretty sure Mikel had I was looking at it. He had a press conference and he talked about it. I think Jack Wilshere will do a good job. He did quite well with the. I think he under 18s or was he under 16s at Arsenal?
I think it was 18s.
Yeah, one of
Yeah, I
them.
think it was 18s.
Because I think he coached Dalman, if I'm not mistaken. I think he coached Dalman.
Unless Dowman got a call up at that time, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't the 16s. It would have been the 18s actually. I think yeah, 18s or higher. Could have been 18s or the 21s, but definitely not the 16s.
Mhm. So best of luck for him, and I hope he succeeds. I
Yeah.
really hope he succeeds because he's done well and he's been a good servant at the club. Um, but yeah, we're facing our second club. Some could say Arsenal visit Fulham, Craven Cottage. Uh, Emil Smith Rowe, Alexa Iwobi. Who am I missing?
Bern Leno.
Yeah, Bernd Leno. Um, I mean, we chatted. I think CJ and I were chat. I think Laurent, you had asked CJ and I what should we expect in the next 5 games, and I said 12 out of. I think it was like 12 points, or 4 wins and 1 draw. Like this for me should be a straight win. Like I don't think like I think we should go into this knowing that Liverpool play on Sunday and they're facing Manchester United. Like, we need to put as much pressure on that game as possible. Um, so for me, I think it should be a straight win. CJ, I'll put it to you, and as you give your breakdown, can you just let us all know what your expected lineup is and what the lineup you'd love to see?
Yeah, so assuming we have to wait for Arteta's presser tomorrow to see what the team news is. But a couple housekeeping things like a noticeable absentee in training today apparently with Ben White. He was not there. So that's concerning. What's going on with him is concerning. That right back area has been cursed if you think about it the last couple of years because um, obviously before Timber came in and did his thing, it was Ben White for the longest time. And we need to manage that right back situation as best as possible because if Ben White is out, right, those two are the direct cover for one another in the competition for one another in that position, Ben White and Timber. And essentially how Ben White really got himself injured was that year right? Or 2 years in a row. I think 22-23 season and 23-24 season, Ben White pretty much played almost every game, if not every game, because we had no cover, especially in the 23-24 season when Timber was out for the whole year with a knee injury and Tomiyasu was out injured. Ben White ran himself into the ground, put his body on the line, even when he was injured, um, and that kind of has now caught up with him. And we saw last season Timber pretty much did the same. Timber had to run himself into the ground all of last season, coming back off an ACL injury. We heard him come out in interviews and whatnot over the summer saying that in the back end of the Champions League run, he was playing injured essentially, and we had no cover. We had to pretty much throw him in there because Ben White was out. Right, so both of our right backs at the moment over the last couple of years have been kind of run into the ground, and because one does not have competition for the other, because the backup or the alternative has been injured for an extended period of time. And if this Ben White thing, him being absent from training is as a result of an injury, that's not good because again, we don't know what's going on there. He's been having ongoing injury issues now. And what that means, we're going to run Timber into the ground again at right back. That's also not good. That guy's come off of an ACL and he's been a beast over the last 18 months. But we can't continue to keep running him in the ground. He's going to need some rotation in that area. So what we do in games going forward to help manage Timber's playing load is maybe Mascara goes in there, but we'll see. But anyways, that was a noticeable absentee from today that I wanted to flag, and it's getting a little bit concerning. Hincapie is back. He was in full training today, and we're excited to see him get a run out at some point because he looks a quality player. But as far as my lineup goes for this weekend, again, assuming everyone's okay, revert back to type. David Raya in goal, obviously. I will put Saliba and Gabriel back in there. Gabriel didn't play in the second game for Brazil, so that was a good rest. So assuming all is okay there, I would start them two at center back, Timber right back, Calafiori left back. My midfield three, Zubimendi, Rice, and Eza. It's important, I think, that Eza gets more minutes in the central attacking midfield role with Odegaard out. And we saw some good stuff from him there, particularly in the Newcastle game. So I'd continue with that as the number 10 essentially. Now my front three, so Saka on the right, Gyökeres up top, and my left wing. Here's an interesting one for you. My left wing is Trossard. Now a lot of people have been noticing that Trossard's been getting the nod lately on the left wing over Martinelli. I would continue with that here against Fulham because Fulham, as they've showed in the past, they'll play low block against us at Craven Cottage. They did it last year. They've done it a couple of times now. They will play a low block against us, I believe. They'll come out and try and come play when they can, right, on the transitions or on the breaks, but I think that they're going to low block against us for majority of this game. I can see us dominating possession, and they're going to try and want to frustrate us and play a bit of a block there. So Trossard is better for a low block than a Martinelli because he's better inside the box. And he also has a little bit more invention, a little bit more creativity, a little bit more ability to shift players out of position, whereas we all know Martinelli's a run-in behind player.
Yeah.
If they're going to low block us, Martinelli's not going to have any room to run in behind. So he's been doing well coming off the bench, Martinelli. So I would continue on with that theme. So start Trossard there, so you have a little bit more creativity, a little bit more ball carriers on the pitch at the same time with Eze, with Trossard, Saka. Get as many of those creative players in and around Gyökeres as possible to help him. Because to be honest with you, Gyökeres needs a big game. I've been wanting to talk to you boys about this for a while, and I'm getting a little bit concerned. That's my guy. I've been trying to advocate for him, but I watched both Sweden's games over the international break
Terrible.
closely, as well as Isak underperforming and the rest of the
Yeah.
team, coach getting sacked. But from an Arsenal lens, if we're looking at straight Gyökeres, he's concerning me. He did not do well in either of those games. It was pretty poor, if I'm being honest with you. And like I said, I watched 90 minutes of both those games because I wanted to analyze him specifically closely to see how he's doing, and it wasn't good. Now, I will say for us, with better players around him, right, that should hopefully bode well. And he was actually looking like he was starting to fit better into our system, right, into the games building up prior to the international break. He was starting to play better. He wasn't scoring per se, but the link up play, right, he was playing a little bit better with his back to goal. He did have a poor game against West Ham, but I'm hoping, and again, he's still in my fantasy team, so I'm trying to, root for him. Hey, man. Bro, I'm trying my best out here, man. We're trying to put it out there in the universe, bro. He's gotta come good at some point, and I'm hoping that he scores this weekend, man. And like I said, with guys around him that are creative and that'll play close to him, I'm hoping it happens for him.
So,
Mehrdad, you're laughing, man, but I'm serious, man. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, but I'm a little bit concerned about him. I don't know how you feel about that
no,
situation.
I'm not concerned at all. I'm not
No?
concerned at all. I think the if I do have a concern is I think that he just needs a rotation. I think he needs a little bit of a I think he needs a little bit of rest, and I'm very happy that Kai Havertz is coming back
Hmm. Hmm.
because I think Kai Havertz gives us a different dimension. And I
Hmm.
think, like, even if, and I don't think this is going to happen, but if for whatever reason, and I know you'll probably kill me for saying this out loud, but for whatever reason, if this game Mikel Merino up top with the front three that you said, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be like, what are you doing? Well, like, why? Like, what are you thinking? Like, I wouldn't bat an eye. I think if he starts Mikael Marino, I would love to see Martinelli just to inject a little bit of pace in there and let Marino drop. Um, but I think Gyökeres just needs a little bit of a breather, just something to change the pace. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think this should be. I totally agree with your lineup. I think that's the lineup that we'll see. The only thing that I would personally want, um, is I would love to see Yeri start. Like give him the left wing. Um, or I don't know. I want to fit Yeri in this team somehow. Whether you put Eze left wing and you put Yeri as, that left eight, I want to see him get some playing time.
So is
Uh,
that what you would do? You'd put Winieri in the middle and Eze on the left?
yeah. And then maybe if it's not working, get them to switch, right? The same way that you switch wingers, just be like, okay, Eze, you come in and let Yeri go out. And Saka has the capability of playing both wings. Yes, obviously he's better on the right, but he could play the left. So they could swap wings too, right? So that's I just want everything else that you said. I totally agree with you. That's the only thing that I would love to see, especially against a low block. I think when Yeri injects some unpredictability, some
Some shooting from outside the box.
like something that you don't expect. I love Trossard. I think Trossard will probably get the nod for this game because I think, like you said, he's perfect for the low block. But um, I don't know. Part of me is just saying, Yeri with Odegaard injured right now, as much as I love to see Eze in there, like I Yeri also like he's shown that he can take this. I don't think it will happen because it's away from home. I think if
Yeah.
home game, I think more so like I would be like, okay, this is the time to do it. So I'm tempering my expectations, but um yeah.
You're right. A lot of people have been calling for that, when you're able to get more minutes, even when Odegaard was fit. There's the Arsenal fans who are strong candidates, or advocates, I should say, sorry, for Winieri at the moment. So, look, it's nice to have these options, isn't it? Like our bench, like even if those guys don't start, right? Let's say like now we have a bench where we can call on a Martinelli, Winieri, and a Marino all in the second half if needs be, right? And with the form that Marino's been in, there's a lot of firepower off the bench there if we need, some extra goal scoring prowess.
Hmm. So all right. Mr. Piana,
Yo,
will this be the game that Ange Postecoglou gets sacked as a result of Chelsea spanking Forest?
I mean, I don't know about Sack, but because even I don't know if you guys heard his presser when he was asked a question in regards to the club performance as of late, and
Mhm.
his reply was something to the tune of, "Well, I don't understand. Why did you not, have a child and did you give up on them when they looked like they weren't going to amount to anything, right? Like he was pretty confused because to him it's a process, right? These are things that happen. You don't always come in and right get it right from the get-go.
Hmm.
Things take time. Things
Do
take
you do
time.
you do you agree with that?
In one way, yes, I can agree. I can agree with that. Mind you, right? Again, I don't have the whole rundown in terms of Nottingham Forest's issues as a whole, right? Where the pain points are. But he has a point, right? You bring a new guy in.
Wait. Pause. How does he have a point? Because a
It,
child is not paid millions of dollars. A child is a child that's younger, that has learned from their mistake, and you know, they can be more pragmatic. Whereas Ange's history, no pun intended, for the conversation that we had earlier, but Andrew's history is that it takes him a very long time to be pragmatic and to change his style. You saw that with Spurs last year. So I don't, can you please like elaborate on why you think he has a point?
well, how many games has this been? If I ask you guys this, right? How many games has this?
Would be game seven.
7. Okay. Um, I mean, and
Zero
you,
wins in 7.
you
0-7. And
no,
he's given up 2 goal leads, I think 3 times, if I'm not mistaken.
no, I understand, but I mean, again, we're also factoring in the fact that this club just fired, right? They got rid of the pre of a or previous manager.
Yeah,
So
because
I'm saying,
Marinakis was trying to show his dick.
right, but now, right, again,
No, but
you
seriously,
you
he's just
they
trying to fucking show it. He's just trying to flex his balls to be like, yo, I'm the boss of you. You're sacked. But it's like, bro, he brought European football back to the city ground. Like, what are you doing? Set your differences aside. And apparently, I don't know if you guys heard this, but apparently it was Edu. It was Edu and Nuno that weren't getting along.
I did hear something along those lines too.
Sorry, Laurent, I keep cutting you off. I'm so sorry. I'll shut up.
no, it's quite all right. But no, but essentially the point I was trying to make, right, and I understand the circumstances at hand, right? 0 in 7. But now you bring a guy in. I'm assuming, right, you have a certain trust for the processes and the time horizon, even as they probably discuss behind closed doors as to, right, what the project is. And I don't see how it would benefit them at this stage, right? To get rid of him. I'm saying give him a few more games at least. It can't just be is off the back of a Chelsea loss, right? That you then sack the guy.
Like,
Well, it's not.
would you agree with me that okay, so let's just say they give him a couple more games, but would you not agree with me that it's got to be the manner in which he loses to Chelsea? Like if it's like a 4-0 spanking versus a 2-1 heartbreak last minute goal or like you know, a hard fought 1-0.
I mean, shit. They should have fired Luis Enrique long ago then, eh? Because I mean, Chelsea can deliver those spankings when it's time to, right? So that's what I'm saying, man. These, okay, if you're laughing, but hey, man, if it's City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man U, okay, you can, right? But any of those clubs on their day, right? Everyone knows on their day those clubs can go out and deliver a performance, right? So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it'd be fair. If it was under another, if it was against a different club, maybe a right bottom 10 of the table, and that is the scoreline, then okay, I think they're right. You can maybe give it a second look. All right, yeah, it's not working out.
Well, that's where I'd be going with this because it's not that one game in isolation, right? If we
Mhm,
look at the results, I have the results here from the last 7 since he's taken over. 3-0 at home, lost to Arsenal. Yeah, to your point, that can happen, right? It's
mhm,
Arsenal, whatever.
right.
3-2 loss away from home to Swansea in the EFL Cup. Swansea is in, if it's not the Championship League One, right? They're not a Premier League club. Bottom line, you lose 3-2 at away from home in the EFL Cup. That's a bad result. 1-1 against Burnley in the Prem.
Mhm,
2-2 against Real Betis in the Europa League
mhm.
away from home. That's a decent result. 1-0 loss at home to
Not because
Sunderland.
they're up 2-0. That's not a decent result. They're up 2-0.
Right. Okay. Well, if you're up 2-0 and you lose, yeah, if you drop points, that's not great either.
Mhm.
But yeah, 1-0 loss at home to Sunderland, a recently promoted side. When you're a club in Nottingham Forest who's supposed to be in Europe.
Sunderland, the club that was hot from the jump.
right?
That's Sunderland?
Yeah, still a promoted side. That you lose 1-0 at home, that's a bad result.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Um, Here's another horrible one. 3-2 loss at home in the Europa League to Midtjylland.
They were up 2-0.
And then the last result is a 2-0 loss to Newcastle away from home. So
Okay, so
they've lost,
those.
so they haven't won in 7,
Mhm.
and it's also the performances and the manner in which you're losing or dropping points. Like Mehrdad said, you know, a couple of those games you're up. You have, you know, you're up 1-0, you're up 2-0, and then you come back to not win the game in the end, right? So it shows clearly they have a leaky defense. That's another thing as well. They've been conceding goals left, right, and center. So
Yeah,
there's a couple concerning things in there.
I don't disagree with the fact that these are concerning things. However, right? Okay, let's exclude the Arsenal and the Newcastle, right? Because you could say that these are teams rather in form. Okay. And then now I think there's the five other results, right?
Hmm.
Score lines just purely off the score lines, right? These aren't trashings. We can all agree to that. Okay. It's more so the game management. And again, if we're
Big
being
big thing, which is a big thing.
yes, yes, and I don't disagree. But what I'm saying is, right, these are things that can be worked on. Okay, mind you, right, it's almost like you're just switching a dial, and if you give that manager time, right, suddenly now these two twos become two ones, and these right, and suddenly they're racking points and they're building that momentum. But if you take the guy out of the equation now, and then you bring on someone else, and you do not know, you're adding so much chaos and volatility to an already volatile situation that you guys have created on your own. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like you can choose. They can choose to get rid of him, right?
But
And
Ange
mhm.
is the reason why they're not able to close out games because he did that with Spurs 3.
Spurs.
Bro, he's not pragmatic. Like the games that he lost that he was up 2-0, like you could have gone defensive. You could have parked the bus.
Mm.
He's not pragmatic to do that because he just keeps wanting to go, go, go. It's like, okay, but
On the offense.
yeah, you're
And
not
you're saying that
taking
there's
Arsenal to do that.
and what you're saying is that like even if he's talking to the owners, right, nothing they can say or do will change his mind on how he addresses his playing style on the pitch.
He's been like this ever since he was managing in, I think, in Japan. That's when he
Mm.
first started his managerial career. Nope.
Okay, so if we're looking at through that lens, then I can then lean more towards okay, actions do need to be taken, right? If we're noticing that the manager isn't willing to adapt, right? But if he is, right, if he is willing to okay increase or better show better game management, right, that lead to better results potentially. Even let's say they even lose this game, but then the game after that, right, you know, when they're not losing points when they're up. At that point, I don't think you have to fire. You should get rid of the guy. But I do not think this is the game to decide that. If I'm being completely honest, this Chelsea game to me is not the game
Do
in
you
which you
think
can decide.
Chelsea's going to spank them?
I do see a 2-0, in my opinion, minimum.
For Chelsea?
Yeah.
Um, High flying Sunderland. Uh, this is going to be a tough game for Wolves. They're visiting Sunderland. I don't see. There's not much to say in this game. I think Wolves will struggle, and I think they'll be lucky to escape with a point. And I think they need a point to stay relevant and to have a chance of potentially not being relegated. But again, I think Sunderland win this.
Yo,
Burnley.
you tripped me out for a second. Because our old prediction series was Burnley Wolves.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm like, wait, I thought Burnley was playing Wolves.
No,
Okay, so
no,
it's
no.
it's it's
Burnley playing Leeds.
okay, okay.
Um, I think it'll be interesting, like, because both of them are promoted teams that played each other last season. Um, Burnley play typically tough at home, so we'll see. Who knows? There might not be much in this game. It might be a draw. Um, One of the big games of the weekend, Palace. They're hosting Bournemouth. They welcome Antoine Semenyo. Um, Real talking point for this is CJ. Do you think the rumors of us getting Semenyo in January are real? 70 mil?
Nah, no. Straight up answer. Not in January.
Wait, why you say that?
We just spent bare money in the summer. We're not going to spend 70 mil in January. We typically don't do that kind of business in January.
Really. Even
Yeah.
if they, because to me, depending on even where you guys far off, in the table, and mind you, even the Champions League, right?
Hmm.
At that point in time, as risky, because it seems like, right, your owners are risk averse, especially how the way you describe how the business is conducted. It would seem like it could be the right play to make.
Oh yeah, it could be. I absolutely. As a fan, my fan hat on, and you ask the fans, yes. But will we do it as a club? No, we won't. I can tell you guys that now, almost as a fact. We won't do that.
Maybe get rid of Jesus. I could see us doing it. But it would have to come at the cost of an outgoing for us to be able to do a Semenyo.
I was gonna say even in the case of emergency, right? Would we do something like that? Like, injuries, a couple of significant injuries,
Mm,
but we didn't even do it this past January, right? Last season when we didn't have a striker and we had bare injuries. So, I no, there's no way in which we will do that sort of deal in January. I don't think so.
And then the other question, because we're not predicting this game, who do you guys think takes it? Palace Foreman. That's Sellers.
Is that Selhurst? Hmm. Yo, that we could have chosen this game to predict. This is a tough one. Both teams are decent form.
Mhm. Palace just lost before the break, so they don't want to get back into winning ways again.
I could see a draw on this one, to be honest.
really. And how's Mateta? He's in good form, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, he scored for France, if I'm not mistaken.
Ah. Yeah, I would edge it out to Palace for this, if I'm being
Would
honest.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Palace at home. I think
Bournemouth look good though, man. Bournemouth fourth in the table currently in the title race. 2 points off the league leaders, the mighty Arsenal.
say that with a straight face.
What, that they're in the title race? Hey man, the point being is that look, they've done well. It's currently in the top four. Um,
Better than a so-called Centurion.
better than a yes, better than a so-called Centurion.
Right, right. I guess since we're already, um, casting the die on who's in the title race or not, then yeah, I guess yeah, Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
shit.
Brighton. They welcome Newcastle as Newcastle look to face the Eagles and beat them. Um, Volta is he's got this swagger about him that I just like. I want to root for the guy. Obviously, I don't because he's a Newcastle player, but I kind of want to root for him.
I hear you. I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like he's got this swagger about him. I'm like, yo, you're a cool dude. Like. Just like vibe it out, bro. Just don't vibe it out against Arsenal, Like roll your ankle before the game at Arsenal. Just, don't be able to play. But like everything else, I hope you crush it. Um,
By the way, people, we don't wish injury upon any player, but
yeah, yeah,
if you
yeah.
happen to roll your ankle walking down the stairs by accident and it keeps you out for a week or two,
But it'll be interesting because I know Newcastle, this is a Saturday game. They play Benfica on Tuesday. So do they go strong against Brighton? Do they rotate? Do they put all their eggs in the Champions League basket? Do they put their eggs in Premier League as well and try to, stay in that Champions League spot? So it's going to be interesting to see. Um, so it's going to be a difficult game for both teams. Um, Man City, they host Everton, Jack Grealish ineligible to play. City,
oh yeah.
yeah, well, because he's on loan. If you're on loan with
Oh
your
wait, sorry. Yeah, he's playing. They're playing City. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm. It's a
um,
big. That's gonna be a big miss for them.
yeah. So so we'll see. We'll see if City can keep the pressure on in the title race, or if it's going to be um, you know, or if it's going to be something that Everton upsets City. Do we think that happens?
Nah. Do we
Well,
need to be Oh, sorry, continue.
I was gonna say, Laurent, do you think City
Loses to Everton?
drops points?
Nah.
No.
All right, CJ, just saying, do we think
So, for those of us in the title race, and okay, sure, Laurent will include you because you're at the table, air quotations, as well. So you're at the table as well of the title race. So, Mehrdad and Laurent, as title contenders in this Premier League, are you guys concerned about Man City in this title race? Like, all jokes aside, the common narrative has been, Arsenal, Liverpool, who's winning it this season. Those are the main two that everyone talks about. Should we be concerned about Man City?
concern wouldn't be the first word that would come to mind for me? Worry and like just monitor, yes, but concern, no. No.
Worry and concern, are they not synonyms?
No, no,
Is that
like monitor them, like not even like not worry, like be wary of them, like know that they're there, know that again, you got to respect Pep and you got to respect what they can do, but not like I'm not like being like oh like they can beat us, they can no 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 I'm not mm, no.
Laurent?
Yeah, no, so to a similar tune, as an alright Chelsea fan, concern, worry, right? These aren't words that are in our vocabulary. We appreciate all forms of opponents, competition, pedigree, stature, just like we proved against PSG a few months back. So if the City side, right, is up to par, to us it's all the more excitement. Because right, if this is the way we have to win the trophy, right, by beating the best opponents, I think it makes it more worthwhile, right? And obviously, I think even for the league as a whole and for all fans, this is something that we like to see. We like to see all teams in their best forms, day in, day out, right? So, yeah, I prefer it when it's a competitive as opposed to, you have like last season, teams not even showing up, right? And suddenly you have one team pulling away with it. It's not entertaining, it's not fun. And personally, right? Like, like yeah, Liverpool wins it, but right, like you didn't have to do much. And I think it kind of takes away from that taste of victory, right? When you drink that champagne, you want to
Be
make
careful.
sure.
Be careful how you're wording this. Eh? For someone like you, who's an Arnie Slot advocate, you're helping Mehrdad's case and adding fuel to the fire in that instance by
What do you
basically
mean?
saying Liverpool didn't have to do much last year and all that stuff because there's no competition.
No, I remember. I never disagreed with that. With the fact that the league was less, and I have mentioned that point several times. That yes, it was in fact less competitive last season. So that's right. Listen, I'm honest. I try to be as objective as possible, right? I don't like to take sides. So yeah, it's not about like one versus the other. No, like if that's what Mehrdad has said, then I agree to that. That it was a less competitive league. So they had less to do in quote, but they still had work to do, right?
Mhm.
So, mhm.
I gotta be honest with you guys. You guys are downplaying it a little bit. I think I'm a little bit concerned about Man City. I will use that word because yeah, we can't write them off. This is Pep, and they have that robot up top who is in fucking scary form. Like, we're talking about treble the year they won the treble winning form, if not better. Like the numbers he's putting up right now for club and country is insane. And for as long as they keep that guy fit, they're in the mix. For as long as they keep him fit and they have a certain Pep Guardiola, they're always going to be in the mix. I cannot discredit them, discount them at this moment in time, to be honest with you. So I have a heavy eye looking over my shoulder on them just as much as Liverpool, and to be honest with you, because yeah, you do not want City close in a points gap. And I'll be honest with you, you relish the competition, as you said, whatever. I will happily take underperforming Man City and a 20 points gap, let's say,
Mm.
difference between us and City. I'd much rather win the league comfortably than have that fucking heart attack, close competition week in, week out, where the points gap is only 1 or 2 point. Like, nah, I've been through enough as an Arsenal fan, and I need that separation. Um, so for as long as City stay within touching distance of all of our clubs, right? That's a scary sight because we've seen what City, regardless of what iteration of City it is, They have certain players who are still there who have been there, done that, and they have a certain manager who's one of the best, if not the best, in the world still, in my opinion.
And I
So
think the one thing that you haven't said or I haven't heard you say is the impact that Donnarumma has had on that back line because that
yeah,
Mm.
is
yeah,
extremely key. And the fact that they have Donnarumma, it y y every game that City would play, I would always I would always joke with my cousin. He's a Liverpool fan. I always a joke that Ederson has one mistake in him every single game, and
yeah, it's true.
he always had that mistake. But now you got Donnarumma, so
Wait, you're saying Donnarumma doesn't have that mistake in him?
Donnarumma does not have that mistake in
Wait,
him.
how's his ball distribution? Like
Terrible,
just oh
terrible.
oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, okay, terrible is a
Okay,
slight
Wait,
terrible.
exaggeration.
Okay, hold on. Let me rephrase that. Terrible when we're comparing it to
Ederson.
Ederson, to a Raya, to an Allison. But for like yeah, he can do it. But he's not gonna take the ball and deke out a forward and then pass it back that Ederson would do, or like an Allison or a Raya would do. No, 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 no. He's very like, okay, let me get the ball to the player that I need to, and then let them do the rest. But what he did,
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
but what he does have is that when you're facing teams like Arsenal or teams that
Mm,
drive off set pieces, is he's gonna
Aerial presence.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna come out and get the ball, and you don't need to worry about that. And he's making saves that he has no business making because he's a freak, So from that aspect, I hear you, CJ. But again, I something seems to be off. Um, and I just don't. I think they'll be in the mix for a very long time, but I think they're gonna fall off. And by fall off, I mean they'll go like 6 points and they'll stay at 6 points. So they'll be like 7 points or something like that. Not by a lot, but I don't think it will be like a 2 point swing or a 3 point swing.
But I mean, where's that gonna come from, right? Because CJ mentioned the inform Holland, and it seems like in terms of the service, right, he's getting the service.
Mm,
Currently,
So
yeah, but like
yeah,
you also
so
have players.
that's why I want you like so if you're saying that essentially right, they're not gonna be a threat, they're not gonna be able to pick up form consistently. What's gonna like who are those players, those key players on that team that are either not gonna perform or that are gonna be out, right?
The back
Hmm?
I don't trust their back line. Same thing as to why I predicted Arsenal was going to win over
Mm,
was that I don't trust their back line. Yes, I know I just made an argument for saying oh Donnarumma's there, but
mm,
there's only so much he can do. As the games come thick and fast, and like inevitably people are going to get fatigued. There's going to be that mental part of the game.
right,
Donnarumma played in France. Like respectfully for the French league, it's not to the same extent when you're playing a February game down in Burnley versus you're playing in Marseille. You know,
right.
you're gonna go into the box when the delivery comes in and you're getting hit every single time. Whereas in Marseille, they're like, "Oh, bonjour," like "Comment ça va?" Do a header. They're like, "Hey, mate, get out of my fucking way, mate." Like it's a different level. So I just don't trust their back line, and I think they have injuries in them.
Mm.
And the big part where you guys both outed me last week is Rodri's not fit.
that's true. That is a key one. His
And
fitness is a big one.
Yeah,
I
pivotal
don't
piece.
think he'll be fit all year.
Who's
So
I
Nico
forgot
Gonzalez.
what his and no, he's not up to par.
No,
Bro, you guys got mad at me for saying Bryce over Rodri. Nico Gonzalez isn't even in the same breath as like a Zubamendi.
Mm.
He's on par with Granit Xhaka, and I would say Xhaka is even better than thing. Like, no, not at all. Um, Spurs, they host Villa. Looks to keep winning, climbing the table. Um, I think this game's gonna come down to the battle of the forwards. Kudus, Tell, Richarlison versus McGinn, Rogers, Watkins. Rogers was on fire during the international break. I don't know, CJ, if you watch any of the England games, he was playing unreal.
yeah, you liked his performance in the second game. I didn't think he did much. I thought when Eze came on in the second game, he did more.
Yeah, I mean, he did more, but just the first game I think against Wales, like I think that's where he thrived. He was given that freedom to roam. Second game, I agree with you. I think it was just I think it's England, man. They have those performances.
Like I think, are you guys taking in the quality of that England side? Like when I look at guys who are playing in Rodgers' position, this guy could his position could be under threat for a starting spot in the World Cup times if all the players that come back perform, right? Like that England squad didn't have Cole Palmer, they didn't have Foden, they didn't have Bellingham. Those are three players who can all play in that attacking midfield position that Rodgers is playing in. You know what I mean? That's just insane, man. Like
Yeah.
Man, not too worried about those guys, bro. England always finds a way to, fuck it up, as they say. So
CJ, I know I'm gonna ask this every single time that we chat about Spurs. Should we have gone for Kudus over Madueke?
hmm. Are you sure you want my answer on this?
I know what your answer is.
Okay. Do you still want me to answer, even though you know
Yeah,
my
I still
answer is?
want your answer.
I mean, yeah, bro. Like, the answer is yes. I've been an advocate for Kudus for a couple of years now. Um, I just think he has that little bit extra than what Madueke does, and that extra is end product. Um,
Flair, as Laurent always says.
the
what's
what?
that?
Flair.
You think he has more flair too than Madueke? One thing
Yeah,
I say that Madueke, like that's not something I would associate with Madueke when I talk about him. I wouldn't say that he doesn't have flair. I think he does. It's the end product. Laurent's looking at me sideways, but
yeah. Like, what flair are you seeing, bro? Like, you gotta pinpoint. Like,
I've said it before and I'll say it again, and you did not like this last time I said it either. I do believe Madueke one on one is a nightmare. He's chaos. Like he's difficult to deal with because he'll could even if he doesn't beat you the first time, he's still gonna get the ball and he'll run at you again. Like he doesn't give you a moment's rest, whether he
pace
beats you
merchant.
or not.
Put a fast enough um
No,
defender,
no. It's
bro.
not pace merchant.
It
He's
is,
also
bro.
tricky. He's also tricky. He is tricky. You have to
He's not
admit,
a,
bro.
he's not a theoretical.
No, he's not, bro. I think you overestimate or how tricky he is. And funny
Mm,
enough, I'm starting to think that whatever it is that you're seeing is whoever decided to sign him was what they were seeing. Like he deceived all of you
I mean, listen,
because
keep in mind, yeah, from an Arsenal perspective,
mm,
we do get excited when we see a winger go past a player because our current wingers from the past have been brought
mm,
up in this system of, shimmy, shimmy, fake, pretend like you're going to be the defender and then play it back to your midfielder. So to be
right,
fair, you're right. Like when we do see someone who actually is willing to go past a player, it is refreshing because, we
mm,
haven't really had that. But pace is not what I would associate him with alone. Like he doesn't have that Doku style pace. He's not any faster than a Martinelli for sure. He's not faster than a Saka. Like you know what I mean? He doesn't stand out in pace to me
I
compared to
think,
other wingers
bro,
around him.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure, like even at Chelsea, he was one of the like the top guys, like in terms of like speed.
Speed?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I remember, like he was one of the faster. Like he has um he has pace.
Yeah, he does. He does. But I don't know. Like you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't stand. Like that's not his main attribute. Is what I would say. In my opinion, for I find that he is a very tricky winger and he's a tricky customer to deal with. Whether it's fakes,
Mm,
body feints, chops, cutbacks. Like he's got a bit more variety again, and I'm judging
mm,
it based on the wingers that we have.
mm,
Which is not saying much because Martinelli's a one-way
mm.
direction. He's got a bit more trickery than our current wingers, in my opinion. So to your point, maybe that is not saying much because the bar at Arsenal in terms of the wingers and creativity is very low.
Mhm.
But I do like what I see from him on a one-on-one level. Um, so I do think he has a bit of flair, if I'm being honest. Like he has a bit of invention, he has a bit of personality, he has a bit of creativity on the pitch. That in
Right,
that sense.
right.
But I will still give it to Kudus over him. Kudus has that little bit more in terms of flair and creativity and product, to be honest.
And
So
ingenuity. I've seen Kudus like get past two guys, three guys in the corner. You see what I'm saying?
mhm,
Like that type of shit where you're literally improvising on the spot
yeah,
um to get out of the situations, right? Um yeah, no, but yeah, I would agree with you in terms of like the Kudus selection. And again, like you said, end product as well, which is something that he definitely has in comparison to Madueke, right? Which is still a top talent.
Okay. Before we come to the game of the weekend, West Ham hosts Brentford. Nuno Espirito Santos has already has his fingerprints all over West Ham, and I think with a few more weeks off and a few more training sessions, I think West Ham's gonna get out of the relegation area. I think that's gonna be one prediction that I got wrong. But I also was not expecting Nuno to take over this team. Um, but yeah, game of the weekend.
Mm.
Liverpool hosts United. And CJ, I did look for that quote. I'm not going to say it what the quote was. I haven't been able to find it again. But when I do find it, we can post it on the Instagram
Wait, weren't you gonna say it?
because I don't have I can't I can't fact check myself.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I did see it, but now I can't find it again. Um, CJ, what's
Mm.
what's your breakdown of this game?
Well, I think it's 3 points for Liverpool. If we're basically giving you guys an idea of my early prediction, but yeah, that's 3 points for Liverpool. I'd say. Not for the want of trying from United's side. I actually think they will be competitive in this game because they know what it means. This fixture specifically, right? The rivalry between the two. Um, but it'll just come down to quality at the end of the day. I think Liverpool will just have too much for them. There's just still, regardless of who they bring in, who's the manager, with this, and that, and the third. The current players that United have, whilst a little bit better than last season, still not good enough in certain areas. And Liverpool will just still have too much quality. This is at Anfield, right? That's the big thing too. I think if I looked at it and I was looking to see who was home at Old Trafford, I may give them a little bit more of a fighting chance. But Anfield, like again, the rivalry between these two, the hatred, the competition, the state of where both clubs are at, will give Liverpool and Anfield and the fans the edge, right? Not too long ago, I was looking at it earlier today. It wasn't too long ago that Liverpool thrashed United 7-0, if you guys remember that, right?
Mm.
In the Premier League. And I was just looking at that recently and I was like, yeah, geez, like the state of both clubs at the moment, like that kind of scoreline would obviously be unacceptable in Fergie's time, right? If anything, it would be similar to the other way around, whereas United was a dominant force under Fergie and Liverpool was nowhere to be found. But today's day and age, right? It's Liverpool who's the top dogs, and United is nowhere to be found. And so I think the game will reflect that. To be honest with you, I think Liverpool win. Um, it'll be interesting to see. They're going to want a bounce back, right? Liverpool's been the club in the media during this international break, right? What's happening with them? Are they sliding down the league? Or are they going down a downward spiral? Is Arnie Slot really the guy? Can he manage all these new players? This, that, all the stuff that's music to Mehrdad's ears. Um,
And
so I
that's what
think they're
the
going to want to.
conversation is right now. The conversation is that this is a bigger game for Ruben Amorim than it is for, sorry, it's a bigger game for Arne Slot than it is for Ruben Amorim because the
I
pressure on
would
Arne
I
Slot.
would tend to agree with that. Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. And again, because of the size of the game and the opposition, who specifically who it is, I think regardless of the form that United are in, it's the narrative around the fixture itself, and they're at home, and what better way to bounce back than to beat your biggest rivals at home in the Premier League. So I think they have to bounce back, and I think they will. I think they'll have a little bit too much. Also because I don't think Amram is going to change his formation and his tactics. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's still playing like a back three with a two in midfield, and Bruno being the one of the two. I do not think that's sustainable long term. We've discussed Bruno being a 10 in the Premier League, right? When we've compared him to the Ezes and the Cole Palmers, because that's just what he's been traditionally over the years in the Premier League, right? He's more of a 10. He's not a double pivot player, right? Because you're giving him defensive duties and a defensive responsibility, and he's not necessarily that defensive player. So if you play a two in midfield of Bruno, who's more of an attacking player, with a Casemiro who's on the back end of his career, that's a recipe for disaster. And I think if they play that at Anfield, they're going to get ran all over by Liverpool's midfield. You know what I mean? And we've seen Amorim has come out and said it. Typical stubborn manager, like he's not willing to change his formation and his setup that way. So you're going to go there and probably hold smoke. And to be honest with you, and I think Liverpool just come out with a win. It's as simple as that, really. I don't know if you guys see it any different.
I don't think it's gonna be as simple as that. I think if I'm a betting man, I'm going with a draw.
Yes, thing. I'm leaning towards a draw as well, but this is a tough one. Plus, it is at Anfield, right?
It's at Anfield.
But remember, Konate might not be playing.
Oh yeah, I
Their
forgot. Yeah, yeah.
their wing backs are shite. You have a big Slot has a big decision on who's playing number nine. Is Florian Wirtz starting? There's a lot of I understand the Anfield factor is huge, but there's a lot of questions that this manager has not proven in his career to be able to answer.
When you guys say it's a bigger game for Slot than it is for Aaron, I mean, if Aaron gets slapped this game,
Everyone
is that
expects,
not? Huh?
everyone expects it.
But
Like,
it's not. Is that not
Liverpool,
like you're getting sacked? Like you know what
no,
I
no,
mean?
no.
Like,
Yeah, it could be. It's could be.
Well, I don't think he's gonna get sacked when thing came out and said Sir Jim Ratcliffe came out and said that he's got to prove himself over 3 years.
mm,
And I don't think he's gonna get slapped. He doesn't have anything else to compete with. He doesn't have a Champions League. Like Liverpool has to have one eye on the Champions League game midweek, you know. So there's gonna be decisions as much as Arne Slot's gonna say, "Oh no, well, our eyes is only on United." Like that's bullshit. Like even when Arteta says that, I'm like, no, you rotated because you knew what was coming in midweek. So there's a lot of these other questions that to me.
But I don't think Arne Slot's gonna rotate in this game. That he's gonna put out his strongest team because he needs a result. And again, it's Man United.
So is the strongest team with or without Florian Wirtz?
At this moment in time, it's probably without.
Right?
But it's still the abundance of riches that he has, right? You say that he's got a selection to make of who's going to start up top. I mean, it's a privileged position to be in. Like, shit, I have Ekatike or I have Isak. Like, I'd love to be in that position.
I mean, one
And
of
then
them is not informed. That's it's right asterisk. He is not informed.
Isak,
Yeah.
yeah. And the only way to get into form is you got to play yourself into form, right?
Mm.
But I don't think, yeah, I don't know. He probably won't start this game. It'll probably be Ekatike.
It should be Ekitike if they want to win. It should be Ekitike.
Wow, imagine the narrative though. The starting lineup comes out and you see both of the big money signings on the bench for a game like this, right? And if Florian Wirtz and Isak are both on the bench, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, but they're both not in form, and Ekitike has been killing it. So
Yeah,
predict.
honest.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, man. Yeah, because I also checked the injury list. I'm gonna lean towards Liverpool
Okay,
on
well, I guess
this.
we can start backwards. So you're saying Liverpool, CJ?
Yeah.
Liverpool, yeah. You say draw?
Yeah.
I knew you would.
Yeah. I just don't trust Liverpool.
Oh, you don't like Liverpool and Arne Slot, is what you mean to
No,
say.
honestly, it's not that. I just don't trust their back line. And the fact that Konate may not be playing, and I don't trust their wingers, like, and I think,
No, I don't think. Yeah, Konate doesn't. It's a quad injury. Seems so. That's
Yeah, but where do you see, like, talk to me about how you feel if you were to do a breakdown of this game. You don't trust their back line, but where do you see United hurting them and how? Because they are just not good. Pretty much taking what I said about the midfield. How does United get any change out of the Liverpool team? We all know that Liverpool, their midfield, yes, they're not the pressing machine of the Klopp days, but they'll swarm you, right? That midfield three. If it's not Verts, it'll be a Shabazz, McAllister, and Gravenberch, which also McAllister's not in great form either. But that the swarming, because I think they'll win this game on offense. If I'm going to tell you why I think they'll win the game on offense, not on defense. They're not going to win the game 1-0 and hold, right? They're not going to score early and try and hold and camp out the edge of the 18 and try and hold out for a 1-0. They're going to win this game on offense because I think they'll have too much going forward for United. To be honest with you, that's why I think they're going to win the game. They're just going to have too much going that way, right? United won't be able to sustain and hold the amount of offensive pressure that Liverpool will put on them. That's why I think they're going to win the game, and I think they're going to lose the midfield. Those are my reasons. But where does United get any change from Liverpool,
I
right?
think
And
it's the I think it's in the innate pressure that Liverpool is on. Yes, they're only 1 point off the top of the league, but the performances this year have not been convincing. From the first game to now, they haven't had a single game that we can all sit here and say, "Oh yeah, they dominated." Um, and I think that narrative, if they have like a 20-minute spell where they're losing possession. The Anfield crowd get a little anxious, like it might be a 1-0 or a 2-1 towards the end of the game. And a set piece, Bruno Fernandes he's notorious for winning those PKs. Like that's where I see it. I totally agree with you. I think the battle is going to be I think Liverpool's front three are going to dominate, but a part of me says that that back line, whether it's a corner kick or something like that, I don't think they're going to be able to hold up. And you also don't have Allison. Like if Konate's missing, but you have Allison, at least you have a little bit of familiarity there, but you also don't have your quarterback, right? And then you're gonna what you
Quarterback? Like if we're talking about if missing Van Dyke, I get it, but
but
All right, sorry, were you when you said quarterback, were you talking about Allison or were you talking about Konate?
no, Allison.
Allison, I think
Because at
Allison.
least
Okay,
Allison
okay.
gives more freedom to Van Dyke, right? So if Allison's there, Konate is not there. At least Van Dyke knows, like, okay, I know Allison's back there, he can dictate. But if Allison's not there and Konate's not there, then Van Dyke has to be the one to quarterback everything, right? You see what I mean? Like, you want to have that familiar voice behind you to know that they're dictating, so Van Dyke can focus on what's in front of him. Um, and then
Personally, I would argue that I think Van Dijk is the caliber to be able to do both.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say that too.
there's no doubt about that. But then who's playing on his right, left? Is it Andy Robertson? Okay, I could
Maybe
maybe.
Joe Gomez probably goes in there.
Yeah, Joe Gomez is probably gonna go for Konate. But then, are you gonna play Kirkes
Hmm.
on left back, or are you gonna play Andy Robertson? Are you gonna dare to play Frimpong? Or are you gonna play Szoboszlai? And if you play Szoboszlai, you're gonna play Wirtz and McAllister, two out of four midfielders with Gravenberch. You know what I mean? Like there's so many questions that I think this is where Slot's gonna make his, he's gonna earn his money. And I think if he really wants to make a statement, I think this has got to be a statement game for him.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't see
gotta
it
be.
happening, and I think for me, I think just the pressure of it is gonna be too much, and I think they have a weird goal in them, and I think United squeeze out results like this. They did it last year, I think.
Yeah,
But
they tied.
so that's what I'm going off of. But there's nothing objective about what I'm claiming, like what you had, CJ. It's more so just a feel. Like I just think coming off and the media noise around this game and the pressure, like hoping that Arsenal win and the added pressure of Liverpool if they don't get a result, the Anfield crowd getting antsy, like that's what I'm saying, you know.
Listen, I hope you're right. I pray that you're right, to be honest. Mehrdad, Laurent, how do you see the game going? I know you predicted Liverpool win, but like, do you see it?
Yeah,
What do you
no.
see?
I agree in terms of like them winning it on the offense. Um, Especially because if we're being real, right, out of form, those players' quality is quite great, And when you have that much quality going forward, you don't even need all of them to perform
Hmm.
at the highest level, right? To be on like that. All it takes is just like one moment, right? One chance, and
One opportunity.
yeah, one opportunity. I mean, if I'm Liverpool, I guess what I'd be worried about, right? And factoring in their defensive woes are those long balls, right? That they can provide to even the likes of Embuemo, isolate, right?
Hmm.
The the wing backs or whatever, right? And then he can uh take them on, service it to Sesko, and then they can, right, create their chances from there, right? And mind you, even I think they still have Mount on that team, um, who I think can also be an engine in terms of even on the defensive side of things, right? To also aid in defending in the midfield, right? And also pushing up forward. So yeah, but I just think, like you said, the offensive barrage is just going to be too much. Um, and also added to that, the home factor for me is
Hmm.
really what tipped me towards going that way. Yeah.
Chelsea Forest. Are we all going Chelsea?
Yeah, I'm going Chelsea. Feel free to disagree. Listen, we don't all got to piggyback on our.
No, I think Chelsea are going to dominate.
Yeah, I think unanimous Chelsea there.
Arsenal for Fulham.
I'm going Arsenal.
Yeah,
Fairly.
3 points to the Arsenal. Yeah.
However, if I'm being completely honest, Um, I can sense a draw. I don't know why. And
But
that would piss me off. I'm not gonna lie.
What do you mean it would piss you off, bro? Don't say that with your little sarcastic, stupid smile.
No, like it would piss me off because I'm seeing a win. And if you guys do draw, I'd be pretty pissed.
No, you would not, because it's good for the Centurions.
Huh? No, but it's bad for my for my points here, bro. I
Which
need
one
to
would you
start
rather take?
right now.
Listen, I'll tell you this. I'd rather
I
Mehrdad's
my
prediction is
points.
right than mine when it comes to Liverpool United. So
Oh, but
don't act like you're gonna be.
no. Even that it doesn't affect like right because we can still get our 100 with you guys winning this game, right? It doesn't. You know what's that smirk about, man? Why are you laughing?
what's the over under that we get to 100 podcasts or Chelsea b Centurion? Which one's gonna happen first?
Two times. I think us just by default. Yeah, I think us just by default. Just the fact that we're already at 50. And then if you do two, right? Two per week, so 25 more
You're
weeks.
not getting Centurion, bro. That number is never happening.
Listen, man. I'm pretty sure when you guys had that season, that golden season, a lot of people were, weren't even thinking that that was in the realm of possibilities, right? Like a lot of things in life. A lot of people don't think it's in the realm of possibilities, right? But you have to dream. You have to dream before you can, right, set out and leave your mark.
I
So
have a
yes,
dream that
yeah, no,
one day.
Is
yeah,
it still even like mathematically possible?
of course. What?
Right now it is.
Yeah, man.
If they draw this game or if they lose this game, I think it's like 0.1%.
The eye test got to tell you something too. You spoke about the eye test before, Laurent, and the eye test does not tell me that you guys are getting
I
anywhere
mean,
near
the
100
all the
points.
eye test has been showing me is red cards, bro. If I'm being completely honest,
Exactly.
right? Two two results lost off of red cards,
Oh, that's great.
right? You feel
Honestly, Laurent, I respect you so much for you're keeping it 100.
of course, literally and figuratively, eh? But yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, you always got to keep it a buck.
Yeah. Eh?
Wow.
Well, that's episode 50, guys.
Yeah,
Fucking 50.
5-0.
We we've survived CJ's mean mugging behavior with his Wata and the different you know, different Arsenal kits, Arsenal jerseys, Arsenal paraphernalia. We've survived the gray blanket, the infamous blanket, the cold Palmer trademarked.
Hmm.
Um, fucking 50 pods.
No, it's quite the milestone.
Yeah.
I think we got to give ourselves a pat in the back just in regards to the consistency. Um, and yeah, this for the viewers listening, right? This is for y'all. And yeah, I do know that right, we do intend to step it up in terms of even right the value that we bring.
Hmm.
So things will not stay as they currently are. Do keep that in mind, right? We definitely have to spice things up, adapt and evolve, right? Um, or else, right? You become irrelevant. So we're looking to be as relevant as possible. Right?
Oh. Well, on that relevant bombshell, we'll see you guys weekend. Big up the Arsenal United. For the love of God, do something for once in your life. Adios.
Fuck Chelsea.
Wow.